Good morning to your cherished listeners. Good morning to the good people of Yendi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you too?
I am also doing well. I'm doing well.
Yes.
I'm doing well.
My first time in your studio.
Yes.
Yes.
I think we met before, but not
in the studio.
Yeah, not for an interview or anything. Yes. Congratulations on winning the Yendi seat.
Thank you. A very hot seat.
Yes. Very, very hot.
But running or going to the elections, but I was one of the candidates you could give. No one would give me the dog's chance of winning the seat. But inshallah, we went in with our all. But I was the candidate for the 2020 elections as well.
Okay. And so you contested in 2020?
I contested in 2020 against MPP's candidate, the same candidate, Farouk Mahama.
Oh, so it was...
yeah, he beat me by 16,000 difference.
16,000.
So no one gave me the dog's chance that I could turn things around. And I managed to come back, turn things around. And he himself said he was expanding it to 20,000 difference.
Oh, but if I beat you by 16,000,
yeah, you can go and sleep.
Yes. How would I believe that you come back?
Yes.
Wow.
So it was really, really a good fight that we put in, and then God being so good. We are consistent with our message to the people and reporting to it. So I am not surprised, and even if you look at it, we try to at least correct the mistakes we made in 2020.
Okay.
Most of which had to do with visibility and other things. Okay. I remember before I came out to contest in 2020, I was a staff at MTN. I had worked in MTN for almost 10 years.
Oh, okay.
As at the regulatory unit, and MTN has this policy of their staff not doing politics. Oh, and this was somebody who wanted to hold on to his position at MTN and still be doing politics. And so I had to make my people go down on publicity in the media, social media. And so I was telling people that please don't market me, don't sell me.
So you're doing silent campaigning.
So it affected me. So I did was way in August 2020, just 5-6 months for elections, that I resigned finally from MTN and took the campaign final. But that was too late to rescue the situation. But this time around, I was on my own. I think after losing, I established my own law firm. I was already a lawyer, but I had not going to full-time practice because of MTN. Okay. But having lost my job at MTN and having lost the elections, I had no option than to fully fall on my legal expertise. So that was when I set up my law firm. And then I've since been in the law firm. And so that one you can do.
You're not relying on legal fees.
Yes.
To run an election.
Yes.
But that was quite, this election, 2024, was quite, 2020 was, yes, something on its own. But 2024 was quite an election. You know, there was so much resources that were available.
Oh, yes. And I always tell people, especially those of our colleagues who joined or who became candidates in 2024, that they have come to meet Jannah, paradise. Yeah. Because 2020, we really suffered. In fact, the party had nothing to give us. Oh. It was terrible. We just went through a dry race. And that was when Nana was also going for his second term. And said he would do everything. Yeah. And so the candidates were very well resourced in terms of the MPP side. And we were at the other extreme end too. In fact, it was terrible for us. And so 2024 was drastically different. In fact, the party structures really worked, and the resources were available. In fact, as I can say that I didn't even get 5% of what I got in 2024. I didn't get that in 2020. 5% of the support I got from NDC in the 2024 election, I didn't even get that. Wow. In 2020. So it was a dry race that we fought. And well, maybe. So I'm telling the people who that they shouldn't think it's always been like this, like the way they had it in 2024. 2020 was terrible. It was terrible.
But still, the party made a lot of gains in 2020. So that told
so if we had the same level of resources, and because of that mindset, that party in power 8 years, there must be a change of government. And so you realize that this time more people were willing to invest in NDC because they all saw that the NDC had a better chance of coming into power, and then more so the incumbent president was also living, and so much money had been cost and those. So I could see that people were willing to put in monies into the party, and so that was how come the party was able to take good care of us as candidates and then let us, because there were times that even look, when you leave your constituency for 2-3 weeks, you get a call from James' office.
Really?
You would wonder who would tell them. They will get a call that you have not been in your constituency for the past 2 weeks. Please, you have to go back to your constituency. And you have
the monitoring was that strict.
It was that serious, and they would also make sure that you can't tell them you have not been given money or you don't have anything, because between that we know that they are calling you. They know what they have done to you. And so it was good. It was good. Yes,
I see.
Yeah, so it kept us on our toes.
So you're saying that if the resourcing that you saw in 2024, if you got half of that in
half
2020,
is too much. Quarter.
NDC would have won the election. Then.
Quarter of that in 2020, we would have, because look at what we did even without the resources. If we had gotten quarter of what we got in 2024, if we had gotten in 2020, it would have been far. It would have been a foregone conclusion for us. Because look at how we are even able to get over 30 seats in addition.
Yeah.
Because we had they had 169.
Yeah.
We had
106.
106.
Yeah.
And then we ended up with 137.
Yeah.
You understand? So almost 30 seats that we got without resources. And so you could imagine if we had gotten resources. And this was even something they used a lot of things went on, but because we didn't have the resources, at least it affected us. And so, in fact, this 2024 election was one that I've never seen NDC executed before. It was one election that we really gave it our all as a party.
Be that as it may, no matter how bad things turn out for the MPP, one seat they can rely on mostly is the Yendi seat. What happened this time around? What did you do?
Yes.
16,000
I always tell people,
difference.
yes, 16,000. I lost in 2020 by a difference of 16,000. And so no one gave me the dog's chance going into the 2024 elections. And my opponent even told me point blank that he was extending it to 20,000 difference.
They was going to give you a gap of 20,000 this time around.
And I said, oh, okay, let's go in. And so I was way out. Look, I was on the ground way even before they had their primaries. Okay. I left Accra. In fact, I was like, even people thought I was no longer even working at Accra. I left everything and I went to the people. I was always, yes, I didn't have the money, but because I was always, but the party gave me the support to always be there.
Okay.
And so I could manage to stay in the constituency for as long as it would take me.
Okay.
And so it gave me an edge. And then I was consistent with my message. And then fortunately too, my opponent had also been given one term, and they had seen that all that he told them, nothing came to pass. And so
he had failed his promises.
Totally. He was just living this high time life. This is somebody who, when he passes here, you think it's Nanado who has passed.
Really?
His cover was longer than Nanado's cover.
When he arrives, when
Farouk passes here, you think Nanado has passed here. About 20-25 cars, and they are all his. Not like friends have joined the cover. No, they are all his vehicles. And so I was telling the people, this is not the kind of leadership we want. We are electing a leader to serve you, but this is somebody you have elected who thinks that power is all about showmanship. And so no wonder you still have the water issues you have. Little wonder you still have the barrows you have. Little wonder you still don't have the electricity you deserve. Little wonder students' school fees are not still being paid for. Women are still struggling with their distance. And so the people realize that no, this was a leader who would understand it. And I happen to be somebody who grew up from Yendi. I was born in Yendi, bred in Yendi, had all my education except university education in Yendi.
Okay.
And my opponent was somebody, one, he was not born in Yendi, he didn't grow up in Yendi, he didn't attend any school in Yendi, and he was this big person. And so I made understand, because sometimes he who feels it knows it. I grew up with you. I know the circumstances that our children or our brothers and sisters go through when they are attending school and all those things. And so I better understand your situation than somebody who has had it easy all through his life. And so he thinks that the best way to serve is to lord yourself over the people. And those things really well. And so Yendi gradually is moving away. You know, Yendi was at some point got engulfed in these chieftaincy issues, including and then conflicts. Fortunately, it's no more the case. The youth have moved away from that. In fact, you may still find some elements of the elderly population still sticking to that divide. But as far as the youth, and you know the youth, whenever the youth are gravitating towards
majority in the population,
they are always a majority, and they have the voice too. And so now the youth have come to understand that the ABDUL and then the chieftaincy things, that those things don't help us. They only help a few at the top. And so because if we fought, somebody has been made a chief, it has ended up like being a privilege for him and his family. You are still in your circumstance that you were in when you were doing the fighting. So why not you also fight for yourself? And so the youth have come to realize that the best way they can get better livelihood is to fight for themselves and to do away with these chieftaincy issues. And so now they are more development oriented and more focused on leadership that delivers the good for the people and not just those that play to those divisions.
So you had to be with the people over the period before the election.
Long. In fact, there were times that people even were telling me that how is this guy able to stay in the because my opponent because of his lavish lifestyle he can't stay in the constituency for like 2 months.
Okay.
I said 2 months, 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because you see, if you carry yourself like you have, this, chances are people will come to you.
Yeah.
You understand to solve
Yes.
that. And if you can't, you will have to be running away almost all the time. And I appeared to them as one of them. What they can, so whatever I can afford, they understand my situation and all those. So I can stay with them for months, 3-4 months continuously without going anywhere. But he could not even stay for 2 weeks. In fact, not even 1 whole week without rushing to somewhere to refuel and come back. And so that gave me an edge, and I did almost all across the constituency. I did the communities, and Yendi has quite a number of communities.
Yeah.
In fact, we have over 400 communities in.
I understand it's quite a big constituency.
It's a big constituency. In fact, Yendi itself as a town is big, and then you have communities close to over 440 communities.
440
plus. In fact, the last time, just after this election, I was chatting with my good friend, MP for Guan, Fred Agbanyo.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Fred told me, "Oh, Charlie, I'm going to my constituency." I said, "Oh, it's good. I'm also planning to go." He said, "Oh my." So I said, "So your constituency, how many communities do you have?" Fred said, "Oh, I have 26 communities in my constituency." I said, 26. I said, "Fred, I can go around your constituency in a day, because sometimes I'm able to do 15, 16 communities in one day." And
wow.
I said, "So you have 26 in the entire constituency?" I have 440 plus communities. And I can tell you that I did the rounds. I went like twice before the elections.
Through all the communities?
Yes. Because sometimes that's what the people want. The people want you to visit them. You need to come to them. And that itself shows that you know about them. But if they have to vote for you and they have not seen you before, you have not come to them, they feel you don't even know about them. You understand? And so chances are their vote will be for somebody else. And so we and then we undertook a number of activities as well. We're always with the people, and then when they also had their primaries, the other thing was that they also had some divisions.
Okay.
In terms of the NPP primaries, it was one seat that they had difficulty. It was like the Wale seat.
Yes.
They had Abibata, the former Maslock CEO, who went neck to neck against Farouk, and then the elections were truncated. They didn't end the elections very well. They had to even take a vice national, at the second or vice national chairman to declare the results. The EC refused to declare the results because the elections were not concluded. They did everything, so they had to take the national level here to go into the elections all the way. So it was the national here, the neck of the party, that took the decision to give the slot to Farouk.
Okay.
And then so it actually hurts a lot of people there. And then as a politician myself too, if you see any crack, you take advantage of it. So I also took advantage of it. And so they had an independent candidate.
Okay.
Coming from their rank.
Okay. There was an independent candidate.
There was an independent candidate who pulled 4,000 plus votes.
Okay.
And that was also.
But if somebody beat you by 16,000, even if you take it 4,500.
Yes. And my opponent kept bragging that even if 10 independent candidates should come out, he will still beat you.
He'll still beat you.
Yeah. And it was just one independent candidate.
What did you tell the people?
Well, like I said, I made the people feel I was part of them.
Okay.
I was one of them.
Okay.
But I made them understand. And then he made a very serious blunder in his campaign. All throughout his campaign, he kept hyping on an issue that do not vote for Lawyer Fatawu because he is from a poor family. He is poor. And I kept asking myself, has this guy got an advisor to tell him that the people you are even speaking to, they are poor people? In fact, the one you are even describing as poor, maybe head to head, I'm even better off than the people the larger population of the population. And you go there and you are telling me that they shouldn't vote for me. So that means that for them, there's never an opportunity for any of them to become a leader, because it's not about the rich people. So if a poor person cannot become an MP, then that means that you are closing the door, shutting the door on about 99.9% of the population in Yendi. And you are leaving it just for you, the few who are rich. And so I took advantage of this. I said, so this is what he's telling you, that you have no opportunity because you are poor. Your father didn't get to become a vice president. Your mother didn't get to become the second lady. You have not gotten to work in a company like Cocoa Board. You have not been this, you have not been that. Your father didn't leave you this much. And so because of that, you have no future. Again, because you have no money. And once you have no money, according to Farouk, you cannot lead the people. And so he kept hyping on the fact that, oh, he has no money, And you see, when you portray yourself as somebody who has money, chances are a lot of people will come to you for the money. And when they come to you, they don't even get the money. So where is the money? And so I made understand that I am one of them. I do not have, just like they don't have. You understand? But once I get the opportunity, I am able to resonate well. I'm able to now fulfill most of their need, because I know it, I have felt it, I've lived it. I have attended my Makaranta, my primary, my JSS, my SS, everything there. And all along, I've been a student leader. In fact, I've not had a single person coming out to say that when he was a leader, SSS, JSS, what, he was this or that. And so I've told them that I'm just one of them. And so they should make sure, if they vote for me, it's an opportunity for any of their children. They are opening the door wide for anybody, regardless of your social standing in life, to also become an MP. And I've had my education in Yendi. It means that anybody who has schooled in Yendi has the potential of also becoming an MP. And the communities, especially the villages, they were the people that he made a lot of lofty promises to, and that he didn't fulfill. So I went to them and let them understand that. And the good thing was that we had a regional chairman. Though Yendi is predominantly Dagombe and the Yendi constituency, Dagomba Kunkuma. So Dagombes make up like almost 70% of the population. Kunkuma is 30, close to 30. And so, unfortunately for us, we had our regional chairman being a Kunkuma coming from the other side.
Okay.
And so, being a Kunkuma, for the first time, we have elected a regional chairman being a Kunkuma. He is now the regional minister.
Oh, okay.
Adolf. And so we told them that the Kunkuma population, this is your opportunity. Because as a regional chairman, once the party comes to power, he will wield a lot of influence in the party in the region. And so, who would you rather vote for? That party regional chairman who will have influence, who can take you to any place within the region and get you an opportunity, or you give it to a party that does not even recognize you. You understand? Because they don't even, at the regional level, there was not even a single executive who from MPP side who was a Konkomba. And in my constituency, I had 6 positions in my constituency at the constituency executive level occupied by Konkomas. And at their constituency executive body, Yendi, they had none who was a Konkoma.
Okay.
And so it was clear that NDC is more the Konkoma party.
Okay.
And so why would you go and waste your vote on somebody who feels he has money, but he doesn't even recognize, he doesn't bring you closer to the party. In fact, all his executives are none of you is represented in the executive body. So you are not even part of the decision-making process. And so you are there and someone comes to give you 1 bag of fertilizer. Do you know how many bags he has locked up in the room and he's bringing you just 1 bag? And so these were some of the things that actually played to our advantage. And the good thing is that the regional chairman has even been elevated to a regional minister status. And so we have given more. And then the regional youth organizer is now the YEA coordinator, regional coordinator, and he's also a Konkomba.
Okay.
And so I believe Alik Palmo. So we had a regional youth organizer, the regional chairman, all being Konkombas. And then we use this to, so we push these people into our Konkomba communities, and they did a lot of campaign for us, and it paid off.
Quite a dynamic campaign. I recall one of the things the regional minister used to say, and I've been to I was in Tamale a couple of times before the election.
Okay.
And he used to say, you had 2 options. You either win or you win. There was no other way.
That is you know him, Adolf.
Yes.
Either you win or you win. That was his mantra everywhere he went. And then in fact, his campaign was really, really rugged, and it paid off. It paid off a lot.
There's one thing we constantly hear when it comes to Yendi. Is it the water project?
Water. Water is our major issue.
So it's still not done.
Oh no. You know, it has suffered a lot in the hands of MPP. You know, JM started it with an Exim Bank facility from India, and then and when Nanado took over, in fact, they inaugurated. We had Yana. Nanado made a promise that the water project was one of the projects he would prosecute. And he repeated it. So anytime Nanado was here, he would talk about the Yendi, to the extent that he came and then took Yana, and then they cut the sword for the project to start. Till date, we have not heard anything. And so nothing has happened. And
so they did cut the sword for the project.
They did. In fact, I can tell you that they cut the sword not even once, a number of times, and the project never saw the light of day. So we are still reeling under the same issues, the same water problem. JM has consistently told Yana that if he's given the nod, he's made the president, the Yendi Water project will become a thing of the past. And little wonder when he was given his State of the Nation at the Sona, the Yendi Water project was mentioned by JM in his Sona, and so it is one of his topmost priorities.
How big a deal will it be for you, perhaps, maybe doing something that the NDC has never done, retaining the Yendi seat if the water project is done? Yes,
in fact, let me be frank with you. If the Yendi Water project is not done, which it is far off the radar that it will not be done. In fact, we have 99.9% chance that it is going to be done.
Okay,
and that is what will secure us the victory, because the people know how dear this project is. That is why any politician coming there, the first thing he talks about is the Yendi Water project. So trust me, any government that fixes that problem would have earned 50% of the population of Yendi, even going into the elections. And so I have no doubt that
it will be done.
Is
it an easy project to do?
One, funding was secured for it.
Okay.
JM started it. $30 million was secured. As we speak, the last update we got from Parliament when I joined was that 10 million of this money had been disbursed, yet nothing has been seen.
You said how much?
10 million out of the 30 million had been disbursed.
10 million out of
30 had been disbursed. Yet no one, if you ask me, no one knows the contractor, no one knows the site, no one has any information about it. All they are telling us is that the 10 million was used for preparatory and other works.
Oh, ground works. Preparatory works.
That is it. But JM is committed, and I was happy, in fact, especially when he mentioned it in his first Sona State of the Nation address, and it is something I'm pursuing dearly. So the biggest challenge in terms of this thing is the Yendi Water project. The communities have their the good thing about it is that the Yendi Water project is going to be tapped from a distance.
Okay.
We have a community called Ngani. Sabari Ngani. Now, when you are coming along that stretch, there are a lot of communities along that stretch. And so when you are bringing it will have served a lot of communities. You understand? And so you are ending up not doing it just for the Yendi township. But it will have even taken a lot of the communities along that stretch. And that will reduce that burden of, in fact, the communities are equally having serious water problems. But we feel that if this mega one is done, it will help in bringing down the issue in a lot of communities around. So,
aside water, what's the other challenge your community, your constituency faces?
In fact, we have, like I mentioned to you earlier, we have 400 plus communities.
Yeah,
I can tell you.
That's so many communities. I can tell you
that more than 300 of them are not connected to the national grid. These communities,
out of
the 400.
More than 300.
More than 300.
Not connected to
the national grid. This is also another big challenge.
I see.
Yes.
Electricity
is a big problem. And but even within the town, even Yendi town, the new areas that are springing up. And so you go, it's within town, but there are new settlements coming up. Some of them still have electricity challenges. And so we have challenges in extending even within the town, and we have challenges bringing new communities on board.
Okay.
And most of this, because we are moving towards this technological world, everybody now uses phone. So you imagine now having to leave your community and go and charge your phone in another community. There are some communities, they have to go 20 miles or so, 20 kilometers, if you like, 15 kilometers, 10 kilometers to go and charge their phones and come back. Just to charge their fee. Yes.
That's
A serious issue, and they have to do it at all. So the electricity
what's the problem? Because many communities have not been connected to the grid. Why is Yendi left behind?
Yes, I think, for instance, for the last 4 years of my predecessor, he didn't start any electrification project and finish it within his term.
None.
Yes, I can talk of a few communities that got connected. I can talk of Yimahagu, I can talk of Pachiyele and others. But those projects were ongoing before he took office. But once that, there's not even a single one that he started and finished within the 4 years.
Not a single one?
Not a single one. Those that he started, they are still, I am now even following up on them.
Okay.
You understand? And so I think if you don't have that being done within 4 years, not even one has been started and finished, you can imagine how far back your people will be left behind. And so it's my duty now and my resolve to make sure that I give this the needed push to ensure that we have as many communities as possible. In fact, there are a lot of constituencies that in the north that don't need this thing. For instance, if you come to Tamale, almost every constituency in Tamale is connected to the national grid. You understand?
Yes.
And so I ask myself, so those that could have gone to Tamale, just push them to those of us in the other areas who need them.
Yendi is not too far from Tamale.
That is it. Let's say if we an hour drive.
Yes.
So
wow.
And that and then the next problem is one that the whole country is fighting with, that the youth unemployment.
Okay.
The opportunities are very limited. Opportunities are very, very, very limited, which is why when you look at our manifesto, in fact, I always say that if NDC were able to remain faithful to the promises in our manifesto and go religiously towards implementing them, we would have it easy in 2028.
Okay.
Because our manifesto looked at the situation and it was more like artisanal support schemes.
Okay. Like the National Apprenticeship Program.
If you look at the mechanization agri.
Yes.
So if you can get something for those who have the skills in various aspects, like carpenters, masons, tailors, hairdressers, beauticians, if you can get them engaged or get them supported in one way or the other, you get the farmers. These two groups of people, in fact, you would have resolved 60% of the unemployment issues in Yendi. Because the youth, yes, some of them will not have jobs and will not have the skills, but a lot also have acquired skills.
Okay.
And a lot of them too have also even completed schools and there are no jobs for them. And I always tell them that the white collar job, those teaching, police, army, there's only so much that we can do, but it cannot be the panacea to the problem. Because at the end of the day, if even the government wants to employ police, immigration, customs, and all those things, how many can it take? You understand? And so we can only do so much. But the entrepreneurship area is what is needed, which is why when I hear government committing some monies into supporting those projects, in fact, I get some level of satisfaction, because that's the only way we can resolve the issues. You understand? Because if you go to a carpenter shop, he also has like 5-6 boys.
Okay.
You understand? You go to hairdresser, sometimes they have 10-20 apprentices, tailors. So if they get support and they are able to keep these people and they train them, and those people are also able to come on their own and resolve and absorb a lot more people, in that case you are curing that problem. But the moment we concentrate on how many teachers we have employed, how many nurses we have employed, how many police officers, how many immigration officers, we are not addressing the issue head on. We are just doing surface dressing of the issue. But the actual issue is to do with those who have not gone to that level of education to become soldiers, to become policemen, to become this, but they also have acquired skills in one way or the other. They have organizers, they are electricians, they are this. How are we supporting them? And if we are able to design schemes that cater for their needs, and the women, the women are mainly traders, in fact, and they are petty traders at that. When I was coming, I had this call, and then most people the complaint people are having is that yes, it's good you give loans to the women, but the challenge people have is that the payback is always an issue. But you can't also stop giving them the loan, because some are also paying back. The women need some push, which is why the mention of the Women's Bank is gratifying. We need to be able to support our women, because the women they keep the homes running. You understand? Whether there's food on the table or not, sometimes it's the duty of the woman. And so, and they are always involved in this petty trading. Sometimes a woman needs like 2,000 or 1,000 Ghana cedis as capital to do her business. You understand? So if you look at
so short-term cheap credit for them.
yes. In fact, if you like interest free, that is cheap or interest free. Because sometimes when you leave them to the fate of these microfinance companies, they squeeze the water out of them, because they give them this facility, and if you look at the interest they have to pay on this facility, they end up even becoming worse off. You understand? And they sometimes some of them even develop BP, because the northern woman doesn't want to be chased for this, and so sometimes they are there, the debt collectors come to their houses and every now and then ends up giving her BP because of the interest on this. But if government comes in, government can give them these facilities at zero interest or at very reduced interest rates, and they will be more than willing to pay. And so these are some of the areas that we can, in the farming aspect. The agri mechanization project that JM has promised, and that is going to be the game changer, because if you come to, we are mainly farming. We are just a farming community in Yendi. A lot of our people, even those who are teachers, are equally engaged in farming in one way or another. And so if there are interventions for farmers, trust me, it will touch a lot of lives, and they would have helped a lot of people in that chain. And so I'm looking at interventions that have the tendency of touching a lot of people than those that are just touching it. Yeah. So the farming aspect.
Let's stay on agri a bit. So if we say interventions, exactly what type of intervention do you think the farmers?
Yes. So you see, currently, before JM left office, you could go for 1 acre for 40 Ghana cedis.
Okay. 1 acre for 40 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
What are you talking about when you say 1 acre for 40 Ghana?
Yeah, if a tractor plows your land.
Okay.
You understand? As we speak, it's going for almost 300 Ghana cedis. The farmer is not able to afford.
From 40 Ghana?
Yes.
So over a period of 8 years?
Yes.
It's become,
and the fertilizer has even gone worse.
Okay.
You understand? Fertilizer, you could afford it for 40 to 50 Ghana cedis. You understand? Now you need 500 Ghana cedis to afford a bag of fertilizer.
Wow.
Within that space. And so the farmer has become worse off.
Okay.
And so we have to look at some of these inputs. Now, if we make available this equipment, that can give them, if a farmer who could have only afforded 1 acre because he has 200 or 300 Ghana cedis per 1 acre, you now can give him an equipment that can say, okay, the same 300 Ghana cedis, I can give you 4 or 5 acres. The farmer would have gotten 4 or 5 times what he or she would have gotten in the normal sense of things. You understand? And so you are making him become even more productive. So at the end of the day, if he was getting 20 bags of rice or maize at the end of the 1 acre, now he's getting the 20 by 5, which is 100. And so he's becoming better off. The input, the fertilizer, is clear that they can't afford it. In fact, that is even when politicians we come under extreme pressure because they can't afford the fertilizer. So 500 Ghana cedis to buy a bag of fertilizer is just too much. And so if government can come in and say that, okay, we are giving you subsidy on fertilizer, instead of 500 Ghana cedis, we give it to you at 200 Ghana cedis. You understand? Or even 150. Then we see how we can get them to, because now our lands have become so used that without these things, they have become, without these fertilizer, these inputs, they are not able to give the maximum output that we desire from them. And so you give them this farm, the input, the fertilizer, the pesticides, the weedicides, and all those things. You support, the government should have a way of supporting, because trust me, the most difficult times in the history of the farmer is the farming season.
Okay.
Because remember, he gets his crops at the end of the farming season, and he lives on that
till the next
so by the time the next farm season comes, he would have finished everything. Now this is the time now he has to look for money to plow the land, buy the input, get fertilizer. But this is when he has also finished consuming all that he got last year. So he definitely needs some intervention at that material point in time. So you can't leave him to his fate.
Okay.
You understand? So that is when, but as at the time they are getting their harvest from the farm, you can even leave them. That one, they don't need my support. They are now better off. But you time them when they need your intervention most is when it's time for farming.
Okay.
You understand? Then you come in, you give them those pieces of support that you can give them, and then when you set them off, then they become on their, they become settled, and then when they finish, sometimes because of the fact that they are even hard up by the time they harvest their crops, some of them are eager to sell their crops or their harvest there and then. And you know, during that harvest season, the prices of the foodstuffs are very low. You understand?
Yes.
As we speak, a bag of maize goes for like 800 to 900 Ghana cedis in the north. If it is just harvest period, it can be around 400, 500.
I see.
At that time, he also has no option, because he may have even taken money from people to do the farming. So he has to sell it. But if he can get some assurance that even after everything, where does he have enough storage facility? Or can the government intervene in the storage? You understand? And then keep these things so that at least he can wait 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line before he sells it. That way he makes better money. But if he has no storage facilities, if he's hard up, he has to sell it there and then. And that one he's going to be worse off, because he's selling it at a price far ridiculous than what he would have got if he had waited a bit. And so our farmers, at the end of the day, they spend all this money in farming and they get very little at the end of the day. So for the support for farmers,
it's important.
Very, very key. In fact, it's key. But if that is that, especially the rural folks, you would have taken 60 to 70% of them out of the poverty bracket. And so it's something that we need to work, especially this coming season. You remember the last season was bedeviled with drought.
Yes.
You remember the drought in the northern region. So a lot of people did not get anything from their farms.
And so they will struggle to.
They will struggle to. In fact, even living this last few months has been difficult. How much more preparing to now get money to plow the land, get fertilizer to apply, get the input to, it is going to be even more difficult. And so this is the time we need government intervention the more.
There's the matter of, because you say you have only one farming season.
Yes, that's our problem. But the irrigation system is almost dead in the north.
What can be done?
You see, it is because if the people are even looking for water to drink,
it's a problem,
and they are not getting it, how can you even tell them to use the water to water their disease? That there are no dams. Okay. Which is why when Nanado promised in 2016,
one village, one
dam, we the Northerners bought into it. In fact, the Northerners bought into it because if we get effective irrigation system working in the north, it will cure the one season issue that we have. Because if they are even engaged even in the dry season, you understand? Yeah. It means that you are saying that they would be economically active throughout the year. And that is the only way to resolve this issue. And so we need to build more dams for the people to be able to let them be able to get water, because it is the availability of water which is the issue. Once there's water available for them in the dry season, you can trust that they would always be active, they will be engaged in farming. But if they don't have water, in fact, the major water source we have in Yendi is the River Dakar. But these days, during the dry season, you go, the River Dakar is almost dried off. Because of the climatic conditions these days, the global warming it is. When we're growing up, we never saw River Dakar drying up. But it gets to a stage where you can even walk through.
The river?
Yes. River Dakar, which used to be very major. Sometimes you go and stand, you have to stand miles away to be looking at it. Now you can even go and stand inside because it's dried up because of global warming and its attendant effects. And so the availability of water, dams, and it has to be done deliberately. Government has to. So when Nanado came and started, it was just job for the boys, because almost everything they dug at the time does not exist today. All the dams dug by Nanado in my constituency, you don't have a single one function today as a functioning dam. Yes, because
not a single one.
No, because they were near dugouts. In fact, at the end of the day, they ended up causing more havoc than causing help, giving us any help, because most of them, the dams were not dug professionally, and so during the rainy season, they rather, because if it's not properly done, their animals ended up falling in the water. You understand? And dying. And then because they were not properly dug, during the rainy season, the place gets flooded and the water moves into people's farms and then carry their things away. And in no time, within 1-2 years, the whole place is filled up. Because the sand that was dug out were just kept at the banks. And they were not compacted in such a way that they will not be able to move this. So the rains brought them back. And in no time, the whole place got filled up. And so there is none that is functioning today as a proper dam, which was dug by the SY administration. Which is why I say that it has to be consciously done. It's not just job for the boys. It has to be done and done professionally. Even if you can do 2-3 dams in various locations, don't say one village. See, if you try to make it every community should get, then that's when you end up doing shoddy work. But if you are deliberate, this catchment area has 20 communities. Get a central location and build them one. And the land is always not an issue. Build them a dam that they can survive on for years. There are such dams. You understand? Let it be like, but don't say, oh, this must be done for this community must get this, or this community. You end up just doing some dugouts, which will not stand the test of time. And so irrigation, because we have one season, it also becomes a challenge, because once they harvest their crops, they have to sit for another 12 months.
And so let me take those issues one after the other. One, on the matter of agric, and I'm sure you listen to your party leaders, who is the president now, budget, very first budget, very attentively. Yeah. Did he give you any form of hope that these things that you talk about will be addressed?
You see, one thing I got from our budget is that, and it's the first time, you realize that it was the shortest budget you could ever get.
Yeah.
But in those times, we will have a budget presentation running into 6 hours, 5 hours, thereabout. This was less than 2 hours. What the minister did was to limit the sectorial items to the ministers concerned.
Okay.
And so we are going to have the ministers come to Parliament, one after the other. You understand? To let us walk us through their key. That is why he didn't spend much time. So he was talking more broadly. You understand? Generic matters.
Okay.
You understand? And he left the specifics. What will be done under agric? What will be done specifically under education? So even if you look at education, he was more talking about allocations. Yeah. Allocations. This is
he didn't go into detail.
But he won't go into it because those will be done by the sector ministers. Okay. And that to me is fine, because sometimes you bring people and you let them sit for 6 hours and you cram all these things into their head. They not much is heard about it again. But if you leave them to the sector ministers, then they come, there's better engagement with them. They are able to see when the faults are pointed out, they are able to see those and then put them. So the commitment from the central government on agric is non-negotiable.
Okay,
you understand. But you would see it feature large in this budget because it was reserved for the sector minister. And so unless you go back into the agric portfolio, the agric side of the budget, and then you look at it, and so the agric mechanization scheme is still intact. You understand? And then and this has to do with the acquisition of the equipment. Because in fact, in the central, John Mahama's policy is that each district will be having a center.
Okay.
And that center will house a lot of farm equipment. And so ideally, if you, a farmer, would go to town and you get an equipment like a tractor that will plow your land 1 acre for 300 Ghana cedis. He can, the tractor coming from the mechanization center can plow your land for 50 Ghana cedis or 100 Ghana cedis. You understand? So that frees up a lot of money for you. You understand? And then the other issues, all the inputs will be supported. You'll be supported with the input. And then you have a situation where he also talked about the fact that the availability of market, because there is this policy of all schools within constituencies and districts getting food for their students from the very town. And so if you look at it, the national buffer stock will most likely become a little dysfunctional in the reign of John Mahama. Because what he said is that, for instance, Yendi is noted for the production of maize. You understand? You can get maize, you can get beans, those things in their large quantities. Why do we have to wait for schools like Yendi Senior High School school like Dagbon State, which are all schools in Yendi, school like Yendi Hearts, which is the nursing school like St. Vincent, which is teacher training college. These schools have students who are being fed on a daily basis in Yendi. Now their foodstuffs have to come, and everything have to come from Accra. Yendi and Accra, which looks like a farming basket for foodstuff. You understand? So your government policy is that you must get what is produced locally to feed your people. And so there will come a time that, in fact, he has started it. The farmers, the administrators of these schools will have to procure their maize, their beans, their rice from Yendi. You understand? And so the Yendi farmer will no longer struggle to sell his farm produce, where because of the desperation and the struggle, he will end up selling it at a peanut. No. And so there will be no need to wait for central government to now release foodstuff or food from Accra to come to Yendi when you can procure in Yendi. So that will give a lot of opportunity to our local farmers, because there's going to be a ready market for the purchase of what they produce. You understand? And so these strategies, by the time the budget is rolled out fully, this strategy would come out clearly from by the finance minister, and these things will be out there for us all to see.
And listening to you clearly, it looks like, as far as you're concerned, if your party is faithful to its manifesto, you, the MPs, you don't have a problem.
That is it. And you can sense that from how JM has started.
Okay.
In fact, I don't know whether he holds the manifesto anywhere he goes. JM is one person, it's like he doesn't want to deviate anything from. And so he would even hurt you than hurt his promise to the people.
Okay.
He wants to remain faithful and religious to the people of Ghana. So if he says this, he feels that he was voted for based on what he told the people. And so whatever he would do to please the people, to fulfill the things he has said. If you look at how he has started, but there are a lot of fair-minded Ghanaians who have said that if JM should proceed the way he has started, then the sky will be the limit for Ghana. Because almost everything that he said he would do, if you look at even the first budget, he has started. You understand? And so we can all urge him on to remain within the manifesto, because it was the manifesto who also sold the most. Look at the no fee stress issue.
Yes.
That promised that first year students would not have to pay for their admission fee. In fact, the academic user fee. In fact, when he took over and budget had not been read and those things, you remember MPP took us to the cleaners?
Yes.
They were like, and that time students were already going to school.
That were admitted during their time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they expected us to get the money then and pay. But even then, the education minister's position was that pay and move in. Your monies will be refunded. Because at that time, budget had not been read. Nothing was provided for you. The MPP government that was in power had not made any provision for all these things. You understand? And so you look at it, and just after the reading of the budget, the money has been provided. He talked about the sanitary parts. It's been provided. So if you look at it, the manifesto is almost becoming the guiding document for the budget that is being prepared. And if that becomes the order of the day, it means that we will not have a difficulty in campaigning in the next elections as MPs and even as whoever our next flag bearer will be.
Well, I still haven't seen the Honorable ABDUL-FATAWU ALHASSAN, Member of Parliament for Yendi. He's pulled off something only one other person has done, or two. Because
only one person.
2008.
2008.
That's the only time.
Yes, that was the first time we won the seat.
I see.
Yes.
That's quite interesting. Anyway, he's in studio with me, and one business before we conclude our conversation, because we have about some 5 minutes more to go. Do you need electronic appliances? If you need televisions, refrigerators, chest freezers, and air conditioners, smartphones, sound system, water dispensers, microwaves, gas cookers, blenders, rice cookers, kettle, iron, air fryer, any electronic appliance you need, walk into any Hisense showroom you see today. And Hisense showrooms are across Ghana. Visit any of the showrooms around Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takrady, Takwa, Mankesim, Obuasi, Sunyani, Techiman, Tamale, Hohwe, Koforidua. So if it is not in your community, it's close to you. and purchase any Hisense products. And I promise you, you'll get the best price on the market. But you're not getting best price for inferior quality. No, Hisense is best for quality, best for durability, best for energy efficiency, best for affordability, best for style, and best for technology. For further inquiries, call Hisense on 0302 550000. Maybe you want a location of their closest showroom. Call that number 0302 550000. Or you can check out their website, hisense.com.gh, see the prices for themselves and the products on offer. Or you can go to their Facebook page, go to Instagram page, or go to their X page or YouTube page. Hisense has everyday prices for the everyday person. Honorable. Very interesting. My producer was telling me that you're called, is it Jago?
Jofa.
Jofa, actually.
Yes.
Jofa.
That's
Is
the
it part of
popular
your
name?
name?
No.
Oh.
It's just a nickname.
Or a nickname? How did you come by that name?
Ask me again. You know, when we were kids, I used to play football a lot. And I think at the time there was this football player called Joe Famie.
Joe Famie.
Joe
Oh,
Famie.
yeah, I remember.
And me, I didn't even know him. We didn't even have televisions those days. When we were kids and those days. So my people used to tell me I played like Joe Famie. And so my style of play was like Joe Famie. And Joe Famie, if you even bring his picture to the archive,
you can't tell who Joe Famie.
So they ended up calling me Jofa. So
I see.
That's how Korea has become. So
So
now Yendi, most people know me as Jofa.
So from a footballer, you ended up in law.
Yes. I had to even move to become a volleyball player at some point. So
Footballer to volleyball player.
So JSS, from primary to JSS, I was more like a footballer. I was a footballer. Then SS, I became a volleyball player. I was even the captain of my volleyball team. And even at Legon, Legon, I was part of the Legon Hall volleyball team when I came to university. And then after Legon, I stopped playing any type of sports. I stopped everything because job, you have to secure your job. And so I got I did my national survey with MTN, and that was in 2009, from 2000 to 2010, and then I was taken. When I was first taken on contract, I worked with the communications department of MTN. I'm sure they know them, F1 them, Gina them, and so I worked with them, and then later I moved to the regulatory aspect. I was with the regulatory department. So I've done like 10 years with MTN. And then it was politics that took me. So I was in MTN when I
decided to
do law with GIMPA. So I went to GIMPA 2013 to 2017. No, 2016. I came to Makola. 2017 to 2019. I was called to the bar in 2019. And so once in MTN, I was doing some legal galamsey practice small. And then I got into full-time practice when I left MTN in 2020, I guess thereabouts, during the COVID period. So that was when I left MTN. And I set up my own law firm in Tema. So that was where I was doing my practice all through 2021, 2022, 2023. And then something like 2024, and then the elections came.
So a small law firm that you started, you've left it into politics. What happens to it?
No, it's running. But I have junior lawyers there who are running the firm. But and they have been supported because even 2024, for almost half of 2024, I was no longer even working at the law firm. I still do cases though. They do the cases for me, and sometimes I guide them in one way or the other. But I mainly, especially the way I gave the elections my all, I was no longer available in Accra to do the cases. So they were doing that on my behalf, and it's not been bad.
I see. And then, of course, you decided to do this to serve the people of Yendi.
Yes.
I want to ask you personally, and I know most of the things, the challenges that confront your constituency, you need the help of central government to resolve most of them.
Very.
What are the things that, on a personal level, you believe if you do, even without the support of local government, will go a long way to help your community and perhaps help your chance of continuing to be in that service of the people of Yendi?
Yes, so one is the relationship.
You
don't need money to keep the relationships going. It is one of the things that we lose sight of a lot. Sometimes when you were going through the elections, a lot of people supported you, not just because of it. In fact, most of them, those people who supported you, they would not want anything from you. But you can't even give them anything. You understand? How best are you keeping that relationship alive? reach out to them once in a while. You understand? Let their relationship still live on, even as you are the MP. Don't let them feel like, oh, now that he's the MP. So that you don't need the central government to intervene in that regard. You have to keep your relationships going.
Yeah.
So that's one. The second thing is that we have something we call the low-hanging fruits. The low-hanging fruits, at least you also have, you can do some of the things.
Okay.
I have started some of them, and I am I'm rolling up a scholarship scheme.
Okay.
And because of the dynamics in my area, I'm putting it into two categories: the Yendi town one, and then the communities one. Because if you leave it as one big scheme, the communities will be crowded out. So it has to be deliberate.
Okay.
And so I'm putting together 100,000 Ghana cedi scholarship scheme, which will be rolled out in the first week of April when we go on recess. That's what I'm going to be launching. And we're going to make sure that it's available for all those who brilliant but needy students. This, I don't need central government's intervention. I have already secured the fund. I just have to make time and then roll it out. And there are some of the communities, some of their issues. For instance, as we speak, since my election, I have fixed not close to, or not less than 30 boreholes.
Okay.
You see, I always say something. When the people need assistance, when they need help, don't wait till election time. I learned that from the predicament of my predecessor.
Okay.
He had money, he had the resources to help the people, but he felt that was only going to be done during election time.
Okay.
You see, my philosophy is that if I want to help you, I must help you when you need the help, not when I think you need the help.
Okay.
To wait for 4 years, somebody has a water challenge, you wait, you've not come to his aid, then the election period, you now come to solve the problem for him. He would not even appreciate it. Most of them have boreholes in their communities, which are broken down. Some have been broken down for 3 years, 4 years, 2 years. And you don't need a new borehole which will cost you 40,000, 30,000 cedis to fix the problem. All you need to do is to take a mechanic there to assess the problem. And maybe we need 2,000 Ghana cedis
to fix it.
3,000 Ghana cedis to fix it. As we speak, even as we are in this studio, my guy, my mechanic, who goes around fixing the boreholes for me in the community, he's calling me. It means that there are some boreholes that he has to attend to. So he will need to be resourced. And so each day as we speak, he doesn't rest. Even this is Ramadan month, he's not, because the people need the water. So he goes about fixing boreholes for the communities every now and then. This I don't need central government because the money is not that huge. Sometimes you take 20,000, 30,000, it can fix 10, 15 boreholes or even more. You understand? And the people get water. But we wait till election time, then now we don't. So this and many other things, and some of them, the school blocks. In fact, there are some communities, the distance between that community and the nearest school, you can have the children trekking for like 5 kilometers, 4 kilometers. Now you imagine children of, say, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You want to encourage them to also start going to school. Otherwise, if they start getting used to not going to school, even when they grow up, it will even be difficult to adjust. So if they are 4 years and you want to, you can't say these children should trek 4 or 5 kilometers to the nearest school. So sometimes you have to provide some shed of a sort, not necessarily a building, in these communities. And I've done that for Nyangpane. If you provide this, and then you get a local person there, an indigenous, it doesn't have to be a teacher employed by GS. No, he has also been to SSS. And for these kids, all they need is somebody to be with them, and then so you engage them, and then the children are kept in that school. And so even as time advances, you can let it become part of the GS structures. You understand? So when you do some of these things, the people, you are one way or the other solving the problems for the people. But if you wait, there are some obviously you can't do much, like the electricity projects I'm pursuing. Some of them are going to a stage where we are going to customer service phase, where you need to go and procure meters. I cannot go and procure meters. It has to come from central government. I'm not pursuing those things. So some of them purely, they are outside my decision. But some of the small things, like we are sitting here Ramadan. If I tell you how much I've spent on sugar, just to make sure that I touch the lives of people. I have bought not less than 200 bags so far, and I have to procure additional 100 or 150 bags of sugar for my people to make sure it reaches a lot of people. And a bag goes for 720 Ghana cedis. So you multiply 720 by 350 bags or 300 bags. It's also more money. So in your own small way, if it's this, you have to always be doing one thing or the other. The people know your limits, but let them also see you to be making some effort. You understand? Than to say that, oh, we are waiting for government to do, we are waiting for government to do. Then that is not leadership at all. So some of the things, initiatives have to come from you. And so a lot of things are being rolled out. We are just 2 months into our administration, and so not much is being done yet. But we are doing. In fact, from the central government side, I have been able to lobby, and 2 big offices are being set up in Yendi.
Okay.
The DVLA office is coming up in Yendi. So we now have Yendi being the center for DVLA for the Eastern Corridor.
Okay.
So towns like Bandaya, Wulinsi, Bimbila, Zabzugu, Tatale, Sabowa, Charpone, Bushegu, Karga. All these, about 8 constituencies. If you want anything to do with DVLA license, any matter of DVLA,
you go to Yendi.
The center will now be Yendi, and it's coming up in my term. You understand? That I've gotten I've done all the flow-ups, and the assurances have been given. And so you don't need to now go currently anywhere you are. If you want a DVLA office in the north, you have to go to Tamale.
Okay.
Which is the western part of north. Yendi is the center of the eastern part. So these towns, or sometimes when they are going to Tamale, they pass through Yendi.
Yeah. Before they get there.
So if you
it'll be easier for them to do Yendi.
Yendi, you have cut short their suffering. And then it have forced you on project to employ people in Yendi. And this there will be auxiliary services that the Yendi people can also take advantage of. You understand? Another office that we have lobbied and we have secured assurances for is the establishment of the EPA office, the Environmental Protection Office. They are coming to set up an office in Yendi. This we can also use to create employment for our people. You understand? And so we are lobbying for more of these state institutions to also have their presence in Yendi, because Yendi serves a lot of communities.
I see.
And so when you are in Yendi, you have at least brought your service closer to the people somehow.
Honorable, thank you. Thank you very
so
much. Which committee are you on?
Education.
You are on the education committee?
Yes.
Only the education one?
No, education and the backbenchers. You know backbenchers?
There's a committee called backbenchers.
Yeah, most people don't know about it. So if you are in parliament for less than 3 terms, you are considered a backbencher.
Oh, for less than 3 terms?
3 terms.
I see.
So you must be in your 3rd term
for you to move
to outside the backbenchers.
I see.
And so those people also have their peculiar needs. And so there's a committee that takes care of them. And I'm part of that committee, and then I'm part of the education committee. So
then I guess we'll be speaking a lot
more. Yes, especially on the education one. Yes,
he's honorable member of parliament for Yendi.
Yes.
Yendi. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. He's popularly called Jofa.
Yes.
But his name is ABDUL-FATAWU ALHASSAN, Esquire. Join us in studio this morning to have a conversation on many issues. Taking us exactly 8 minutes past 10. The king of mid-morning will take over with the mid-morning show now. We are back same time tomorrow with another edition of the show. But don't forget to make a date with the night train crew from 9 p.m. Like I told you, today their guest is none other but Agongo. Alhaji Seydou Agongo, that famous name. We'll join them in studio. He's a business mogul. We'll join them in studio to have a discussion. So don't miss that for anything. But in the meantime, happy birthday to Francis Badago, former spokesperson for the Education Ministry. Happy birthday to Rubenado again, who turns 40 today. Cecilia Beck, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Senor Hoban. Happy birthday to all of you and to everybody who's celebrating their birthday today. We'll see you tomorrow on the Gold Morning Conversation. Like I said, coming up is the mid-morning show.
One station. Accra.